I love efficiency. In fact, one could argue that I spend an inefficient amount of time thinking about efficiency. But in all seriousness, as someone with an incredibly jam-packed schedule, I put a lot of thought into how to make my day run smoother, how I can get more done in a day, and just overall how I can be more efficient with my time. Either through tools, services, or hacks that I can utilize to be more efficient and get more done in the day as a content creator, car sharing host, and employee. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the ones that I have found relatively recently that I've been using that I think have made a huge impact. Now, before we dive in, I do want to remind you guys that I have a course, the Car Sharing Masterclass, which is a full A to Z course that teaches you everything that you need to know about starting and scaling a car sharing fleet with the exact same business model that I use. I can confidently say that this is the most robust, detailed course on car sharing that there is on the planet. And the course includes everything from how to operate your fleet, how to find cars, how to address damage claims, co-hosting, including contractual templates made by real attorneys, and we are coming out with a 3.0 version later on this year, which will include an entire new section on direct rentals. In fact, we are so confident in the quality of the course that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. So if you guys want to give it a try, you can do so by clicking the link down in the description below and using the code OFFER100 to get $100 off. First is one that I've talked about before. This is actually the only one that's a duplicate from past videos, but I think it's so good that I think it's worth mentioning again. And while they are a partner of the channel, this is not a sponsored video, and this is a service called Fleet. Fleet is a fleet management software designed for car sharing hosts, and I am a big fan of it. Last year, my husband HP and I hired our first full-time employee, and whenever this happened, my day-to-day involvement of actually cleaning and checking in cars became much more limited. And today, I really only clean and check in cars if it's super busy on the weekends, but for the most part, I'm not really doing it in the day-to-day. But because I do still handle all invoices, damage claims, customer support interactions, it's still super important for me to understand what's going on in the fleet in the day-to-day, when cars get returned, when they're checked in, when they're available, any issues that arise, and Fleet really bridges that gap between me and our day-to-day operations. It is super important for me to be understanding what's going on with our fleet on a day-to-day basis. And now that we've begun to grow a direct rental fleet, it has become even more important and complex, but Fleet makes it a lot easier. Fleet allows us to assign tasks. My team can mark cars as checked in, and we've gone in and customized some settings to be able to mark cars for specific things, for example, extenders. So if a Turo guest has been extending every day, we can mark this as an extender, and we know that most likely we won't need to check in this car. Or if a guest is late, we can mark a car as a late return. That way I know that while the car hasn't been checked in, it also hasn't been returned. I check Fleet every morning before I begin my day as a way for me to know what's going out, coming back, and what needs to be addressed, and I can assign tasks. That way the team knows what needs to get done. And my entire team checks Fleet first thing in the morning as well. That way they know what their day looks like. Now, I do have an affiliate code with Fleet. If you guys are interested in checking it out, you can get a discount. It is down in the description below. But whether you use my affiliate code or not, I truly don't care. I think that Fleet is great. And if you are someone who's wanting to expand your car sharing operation and you're looking for a management tool to help you do it, Fleet is hands down the best option. The next one is honestly probably one of the best tools I have come across in a long time, and it's an email management tool called Spark Mail. I have a ton of emails, like it is completely out of hand. I think between personal, work, and just miscellaneous project emails, I probably have 12 or 13 accounts. And my email strategy in years past has been that I don't open an email unless I'm ready and in a place to respond, because if I open and I don't respond, I'll forget and the email will be lost in my inbox forever. And within the last 6 months or so, I could feel this strategy beginning to catch up to me. As I become busier, I was beginning to miss things in my inbox. I was taking a long time to respond to people, like an inappropriate amount of time. I could feel that I was getting behind, and it would actually create a lot of anxiety because as I begun to get behind on my emails, I would then dread checking my emails, and then it would create this vicious cycle where I absolutely hated everything that had to do with emails. Well, a few weeks ago, I was in a meeting with a colleague, and in this meeting, he mentioned an email tool, and he described it as an email tool that turns your emails into to-do lists. And as soon as the meeting was done, I went on my computer and I downloaded this tool. It's like $60 per year as of recording this video, which I think is an incredible price for what you get, and I am just so impressed with this. You attach all of your emails to your Spark account, which honestly is a huge pain to do, but it's a one-and-done task. And then Spark learns what emails are spam, notifications, meetings, and actual emails, and it sort of prioritizes them. But the feature that I love is that you can open an email, read it, but unless you click done next to it, the email will stay at the top of the list as if it's unread. So for example, if I get an email, I check it, and then once I read it, I actively think to myself, okay, this is not something I want to deal with right now. I can decide to either pin it, remind me later to address it, or I can just leave it there, and as long as I don't click done, it will stay in my email to-do list. And because emails can either be pinned, done, not done, or deleted, when you click done, the email disappears from your main list, but it's still in your inbox, so your email becomes much easier to manage because your email home screen only shows you a handful of uncompleted emails instead of hundreds of unread and read ones. You can also link your Asana to Spark, and my team has been using Asana for a long time, so I linked my Asana to my Spark so I can look at an email, decide if I want to deal with this or if I want someone else to handle it. I can then right-click on it and then assign it to them, and when I do that, not only will the task be created in Asana, but the email and all associated documents will also be attached in the task within Asana, which has been super helpful because there has been a number of times since using Spark where there's a task that I can delegate to somebody else. I can just simply assign it. I don't need to talk to them or provide additional context, so they have everything that they need. But whenever I make these videos, I specifically want to ask myself, how are these tools going to be helpful for Turo hosts specifically? And so I think where this is particularly helpful, at least for me, has been with communications with Turo customer support. For example, ineligible incidental charges. Now, previously, whenever I would get ineligible incidentals via email, I would oftentimes keep it as unread. And that was like my signal to myself that I still needed to deal with that. But as I mentioned earlier, I would get a lot of anxiety about checking my email. And so there were some times where ineligible incidental charges would fall through the cracks because I just wasn't great at checking my email. Alternatively, I would occasionally set like calendar reminders to deal with an ineligible incidental if I didn't have time to do it right then and there. But with Spark, I just don't click done next to it, and whenever I log into Spark, I can easily see that it's an outstanding task that I need to deal with. Now, I have not been using Spark for very long, but I can say that it is well worth the $60 per year that I'm paying, and I truly think that it has changed my relationship with email, and it has made my time much more efficient, and I've been staying on top of my tasks better since using it. The next one is a simple but very effective change that we implemented within the last couple of months, and it's one of those changes that I look back on and I wonder why we didn't do something like this sooner. And it's using a service like a shared phone line. The one that I use is called Open Phone. Open Phone is an online phone where you can text and call from an app or from your desktop, and it's an additional number instead of your personal number. So you have it on your actual phone, but it like rings as if it's a completely separate phone within the same device. This for me has been a game changer. So we got Open Phone last year for a different business we started where we needed multiple people to be able to answer the same phone. We also wanted to find a user-friendly app that would easily allow for us to differentiate when a phone number was coming in from this new business versus when a call was coming from our actual personal phone number. That way we would know what we were getting whenever a call came in. And I chose Open Phone because it fit the bill for everything that we needed. And while we have been using Open Phone for about 10 months now, and we've been super happy with the service, we just implemented this within our Turo fleet within the last couple of months. So with Open Phone, you can set up different inboxes. So like if you were to theoretically grow large enough to have different departments, each department or a person within your business could have a different phone line. That way you can easily transfer calls within departments. But for us, we just have one phone number for our car sharing fleet, and our entire team has access to that inbox. And we know that whenever a call is coming in from this number, we know that it's for the car sharing business because it's labeled as such. But with Open Phone, you can customize a ton of settings. You can set operating hours, whether or not you want the phone to accept voicemail, how long you want it to ring, menus, if you want it to say a message if no one answers. There are template scheduled texts, the calls are recorded. It's amazing. And for us, we have it set up in a relatively simple way. It rings for 30 seconds. If no one answers, there's an automated message that plays to have them send us a text message. And whenever they call or text us, everyone who has access to the app gets that notification. But truthfully, just the fact that I'm no longer the sole person responsible for owning the phone responsibility now, that has been amazing. Previously, I was basically the only person in charge of Turo and guest communication, not because my team didn't want to deal with it, but because my number was linked to everything. So texts, calls, support messages, all of it went to me. And being the sole person responsible for this was definitely a bit of a pain, and it did create stress because it meant that I basically had to have my phone on me at all times. If I went to the gym, if I went on a run, if I went to sleep, I had to have my phone accessible for either me or HP to answer it if it rang. Now with Open Phone, we all have access to the phone, the inbox, and the number, so if the phone rings, it rings to everyone and anyone can answer or respond to texts. Now, generally speaking, I am still the one who's in charge of this type of communication, just because I think if everyone is responsible for it, it creates a bit of a mess. But now my team knows that if I'm in a meeting or if I'm tied up and I can't answer, they know that they need to be on top of messages and calls, and they need to answer if one comes through. Now, I don't know if open phone would be worth it for like a single person team. I think at that point, if you were looking for something in addition to your personal number, you could just do Google Phone, which is free. But I do think that as you grow and expand, having an open phone line and kind of having a group phone line that everybody can help answer, it goes a long way. Again, even if it means having one person who really owns the task, but backups in case that person is unavailable. Or if you're looking for more customizations within your phone number, like hours, automated messages, menus, things like that, I've been super impressed with it overall, and I think it's really fit our needs nicely. But there you guys have it, 3 of the best tools that I've been using over the last couple of months. Like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.